The 17th running of the Passion for Speed Festival is proudly brought to you by SKF, Castrol and Volkswagen. Welcome back to Swartkops. It's the 17th running of the Passion for Speed Festival, and great to see all of our sponsors getting behind this day. Not only with sponsoring the cars on track, but activations off the circuit as well to entertain this big crowd. And a big crowd has come in despite the weather conditions early in the morning. They got to see Ian Scheckter and David Piper sharing that magnificent Ferrari in the Liqui Moly Pablo Clark Ferrari demonstration. We head now into the Castrol SATT. This is the big one, Rob. This is what all the drivers have come to win. No matter what car you've got, this is the one you want to walk away with and the title you want at the end of the weekend.
It's a 45-minute endurance race around the Swartkops Raceway. And no Peter Bailey, last year's winner, is not here, but watch out for the Du Toit brothers. Watch out, of course, for Roy Campos as well. And there's a bit of international flavor in this as well. From Sweden, the UK, they're coming all over the world to come race here at Swartkops Raceway.
Today we are hopefully going to have fun all the day. That's the main reason we are here. And of course, we hope we can bring some good places. The car is a Ford GT40 from 1965, and it's a FIA spec car with a 289 engine. And we race against South African cars that mostly have stroked 302 engine. So, but it's fun to compete with similar cars.
Cars that are worth a huge amount of money on track at the moment as well, Rob. Never mind anything else. The man on pole is Dino Scribanti from Scribanti Labour Consultants in that GT40. And he's going to try and run at the front and get away from the rest of this big pack of field as they head into turn one. Now, as they go into turn one, have a look at the different variations of cars. You've got sports cars out there, you've got GT cars, and you've got your normal road-going versions of these cars as well. A couple of them, anyway, as they head into turn two. Sorting things out at this stage, Dino holding on for the lead. But as they come through, you can just see, look at that, Donald Duncan all the way from the UK in that magnificent McLaren. He goes alongside the number 8 car there. I think that'll be Chad Tendashate. He's going to be fighting hard. And on board here with Dino Scribanti, as he goes, looks like he's looking around. There's a bit of a problem here on this car by the looks of things. Scribanti's got an issue. Yes, he has. He opens up the door, and the Lola T70 Spider of Jonathan and Mark Dutoy go flying through. It's Mark Dutoy at the wheel at this stage. There goes Campos. Scribanti is in trouble.
Definitely got a problem with that car. Not going to make the 45-minute race, that is for sure. Looking out there for Warren Lombard in that beautiful Cobra. That is a spectacular car. Really is jam-packed here. This is what the Passion for Speed is all about, is showcasing these cars to the South African public. And remember that you can go with the 2-driver option, or you can do the single-driver option. A lot of teams going with the 2. The Dutoy brothers, of course, out front, they are going in that car of theirs. And then you have to do a pit stop, and you've got to be in the pits for 3 minutes. The last 10 minutes of the race, you cannot pit at all. There goes Dino Scribanti now pulling in the pits. That's put an end to his race.
Well, the road to race, boys, are in full flight there. You can see Dirk Venter starting out really well. On his tail comes Donald Duncan, the Janetta in there as well, of a hard-charging Josh Dovey. Keep an eye out also on the Shelby Daytona Mustang of Craig Davies, all the way from the UK. Very, very fast car, and will potentially be at the front end rapidly. Mark Larth just coming under pressure there from the Daytona. Looks like that 917 taking a bit of strain. Here we go once again. Leotard in the mix, fighting hard, and you can see just how well he's going, because Franco Resca just behind him there in the little MGB. He's not too far off the back end, but the car they were fighting with there was Mike Knight and Chris Wilson, who's sharing that Chevy Camaro. That is a very, very quick car as well. So you can see the field of cars. Absolutely amazing to see the array that's here. There's really everything that you would have seen in the heyday of racing involved in this SATT. And as I said earlier on, this is the one they all want to win, particularly this man, Roy Campos, who has come a long way. He's taken a title 2 years ago. He lost out to Bailey last year with a problem on that Lola T70 Spider that he's in, and he's now trying to close down on the lead Lola, the Walls ice cream car here of the Dutoys.
And he's doing that and solely driving this whole race. So 45 minutes out on track there for Roy Campos, but we know that he can do it. And that's Warren Lombard right on his tail in that beautiful Cobra. First of the overseas drivers, that's Craig Davies, the UK man. He's in the Shelby Mustang, and Sweden Youngkling flying the flag high there in his 1965 Ford GT40. He's down in about 8th or 9th place at the moment, so looking for a couple of top 10s are the international flavor drivers. And car 44, they're coming now through turn 1. That is a beautiful car. That's Chris Clark and Nick Clark. We know how fast those guys can be around the Swartkops circuit. They're in the Avo suspension 1965 Morgan 4.4. So great to see that car out on track. And look at this, it really is starting to bunch up now all the way around the field. To get that long car around this circuit must take a lot of doing. That is his car number 95. That is Armand Adrians, and doing a great job there. On board now with Roy Campos. He's starting to come through a little bit of traffic now and up into turn 4.
This is what happened now, unfortunately, with the bigger cars getting through the field as rapidly as they do, and with a big field of over 30 cars competing, it means that traffic is going to be for the rest of this race. You're literally going to have to watch your rearview mirrors. You're going to have to watch where you do overtaking maneuvers. Make sure that you hit the overtaking maneuvers. Make sure the car in front of you sees you. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. Donald Duncan starting to make his way to the front end of this field as well pretty rapidly and starting to come through the field. Didn't quite get the qualifying he wanted because of the tricky conditions we had. And speaking of problems, oh no, that's not good. That's Tender Shate sharing there with Eddie, and it looks like Eddie Perk is going to have his own problems there as well as he starts to roll in. In fact, 2 of the Daytonas coming in at the same time. I think that might be Fenta. Fenta coming in, or was that Paige Lindenberg that's coming in? No, it's Paige Lindenberg who's coming in here. You can see Peter walking up and making sure that the car's okay. Has a quick check to see if everything's all right. This might be an early stop here for them. Might be part of the strategy that they're running for. Yes, I think this is an early stop here. Paige Lindenberg diving out the car. Peter Lindenberg will take over from his daughter as the 4-4 Morgan comes in of the Clarks. Looks like pit stop window is open. Let's find out how things are going from Paige.
It wasn't easy. I haven't driven this car for a good year and a half, and I haven't shared with my dad either. So the endurance racing's tough. This car's tough. Something I'm really not used to. Left-hand drive, sit right on the back. So tough, but I just needed to finish and keep going so he can take over and do the job. So I did my job. Hopefully it helped.
Peter Lindenberg pulls out now, going to slot back into about the top 10 as Donald Duncan comes in for his pit stop. Looks like things are starting to heat up out there.
Hot, very hot. Yeah, it's like getting into a sauna. Looking forward to it.
So one of the top UK contenders back on track. Another one just making his way back into the pits, but you can see they are working frantically, changing tyre pressures. Here's Mike Knight.
Got psyched out by one of the Detroit boys who was coming up to lap me and forgot where I should brake. It took me a minute or two, not a minute or two, but certainly 10 or 20 seconds to get back on the circuit again. But otherwise, it's jolly good fun. Yeah, went well.
So a couple of changes here to drivers. A couple of cars that do need some refueling. And as you can see, a little bit of smoke coming from Campos's car. I was concerned about that a couple of laps ago, actually, Rob. And as it comes in here, it looks like Campos might have some oil pressure problems or something to do with the engine. They're going to have to get onto that as rapidly as possible. Warren Lombard follows him in, so he's coming in for a scheduled pit stop. I don't think this is scheduled for Campos, though.
No, definitely not. That car has been smoking the last couple of laps, so let's find out now what has happened to that car.
The toys are keeping me busy. They got more horsepower than me, that's for sure. So let's see. We're keeping a good pace. The car's good. Let's hope for the second half now. We go.
Well, hopefully they can get it all sorted out. You can see one of the original GT40s going out there. Oh, Campos getting out of the car. That was Kenneth Pearson making his way back onto the track, and Campos is climbing out. This is terminal. Can you believe it? The man who won 2 years ago is now out of this race, and yet again the bad luck has come.
Good, it's tough. It's hot. The car's going well. I saw Campos was smoking, so I thought I'd just lay off him a little bit.
Thanks, Waz. Yeah, get back out on track, bud. Warren Lombard about to go out, and in fact, if he goes out right now, I think he possibly could be leading because the Toys are only just coming in now to do their driver change and their refuel. So they'll head through the pit lane and into the pre-race area. That's where they did theirs. Tender Shate helping out with that refuel. Let's catch up with one of them and see how it's gone. I think it was Mark who was in the car first.
Yeah, all good. Ray was keeping me honest there for a while, and then I see the car seemed to be smoking quite a bit, and then I see he dropped back. So our car's doing fine. Back tire's getting a bit worn, getting a bit tired out there. I'm glad my book's taken over.
Yeah, good. We've got quite a nice lead. I see our main opposition, Roy Campos, is broken. So yeah, I'll just take it out and hopefully bring it home.
Cars in and out frantically now, Rob, and it's literally only a few more minutes to go as the Detroits get out there. They've got about 25 minutes to do. You can see Mark Larth in the pit lane there as well. Oh, problems there for Pearson. Kenneth Pearson pulling the GT40 back in the pit lane. That's not what we want to see. That's an original GT40. Probably way more than anything that you and I will ever earn in our lifetime to buy one of those. But certainly a car that you are expecting to see at the 17th running of the Passion for Speed Festival.
Yeah, just looking in the final stages now of this race, Mark Dutoy and Jonathan Dutoy look like they're comfortably out front, so got the pit stops to perfection there. Donald Duncan right up there, flying the flag for the UK boys. Warren Lombard not too far behind there as well. Josh Dovey, the Class C driver, he's up there in that 1965 Ginetta GTR, so great drive there. And another UK driver, Craig Davies, rounding out the top 5 at the moment, but things can still change here. We know into the final stages of this race, not only car troubles, but also it is so hot out there. These drivers are now taking strain, especially the drivers that have gone to and opted to do the whole 45 minutes by themselves.
Yeah, so you got the Duncan team, the Detroit team fighting for first and second. Warren Lombard, unfortunately, not quite getting that pit stop to perfection, and he's going to have to settle for third place. And as he comes down now, this is Jonathan du Toit coming up on Francesco Van Em as he goes flying through. The checkered flag will be waiting, and it's another victory. This will be, I think it's 4 wins out of 7 starts, and great to see Peter du Toit flying the checkered flag there for his 2 sons as they cross the line to win the SATT, sponsored by Castrol.
Absolutely brilliant. What an event. This is really what the crowd came out to see, is these fantastic cars putting on that display. Mark du Toit and Jonathan du Toit. Donald Duncan, the single driver there, with Warren Lombard, Josh Dovey in 4th, and Craig Davies rounding out your top 5.
Welcome back to continued action from the 17th running of the Passion for Speed Festival. And yes, the crowds have not left. They've also come out to see Lucy. 27-litre V12 sideways out of turn 2.
Sideways, you got to love that. We're going to go now into the Castrol ISPs, and this was one of the biggest class on the day, no doubt.
And this is a class that is very competitive as well. Brand new cars being brought in as well as part and parcel of this weekend. Nice to see the Lancia down in Chad Tenderchate's pit, but there are big cars that are going to be fighting at the front end. We've got Lolas, we've got Chevrons, Porsches, we've got a McLaren, we've got that Lancia, as we said, and then a whole bunch of international competitors, including the Malloch, all the way from Cape Town, the Hop Motorsport Malloch there of Steve Humble. As they head down into turn number 1 now, you can see just how difficult this is going to be as the rest of them come flying through. Nice start there from Scribante, tucking in on the inside of a hard-charging Larry Wolford. On Larry Wolford's tail was Andre Besaidnote. There's Terry Wolford in the Golf Racing Porsche 917 a bit further back there. That 917, an incredible car. Remember, in its heyday, was definitely one of the cars to beat, particularly in the ISPs and also at the 9 hour. As we go on board here with Campos, that 917, remember, one of the incredible examples of the type cars that are in this race. There's another one out of the Bailey State, and Bailey Cars making that car go really quickly. At the front end, though, it's Humble. He's under a bit of attack there. The Chevron of Scribante is applying pressure in a big way and looking for a way through.
Now, car number 1 is Larry Wolford. He's in that 1970 Lola T70. Now, we've already seen the du Toit brothers win the 45-minute endurance race in one of those Lola T70s, but they're 2 different models, with the du Toits winning in the Spider version of that car. So great to see. Greg, you know what's amazed me about the whole of today is how many of these historic, beautiful machines are actually based here in South Africa.
A lot of them being kept here by the international competitors as well. Other than the guys from Sweden, I know that Michiel Campagna leaves a lot of his cars here, so he doesn't have to worry about transporting them back and forth. He just literally leaves them here for the Passion for Speed Festival, which is great to see. A little bit of pressure being applied there from Wolford now. He's starting to close in on the back end, and so is Andre Besaidnote coming through for the ride. That's awesome to see a brand new car, Chad Tenderchate, in the Trans Africa Racing Lancia. And that car, really awesome to see for the first time in South Africa that we've seen that. Problems, though, for the Malloch. The Malloch of Steve Humble has pulled to the sideline. Looks like he might have had a small issue on that car, and also a 911 Carrera RSR. Unfortunately, Richard Pott out as well. He just made a big mistake. Now, as they've all been brought back together with a safety car that was out there for those 2 stricken cars, everything is bunched up ever so slightly. And look at Besaidnote. Andre Besaidnote in the Walterfrieden Estate RSR Turbo Porsche is starting to come onto the back end. It could be a threat here to Wolford. Wolford goes defensive. There you can see a Vakamides coming through there in the Liquimoli and Ocean Basket Porsche. He's in 2nd place on the road, but he's a bit further back overall in the standings. Probably sitting just outside the top 10 at this stage. In fact, might just be in 9th place. But now, the problem you've got is with the sprint race. Remember, the cars that are lapping at this stage under safety car, those laps did not count. So we've still got about 6 laps to go in this race, Rob. And you can see, whoa, in the background, a bit of smoke coming out of one of the Swedish cars. The 37 machine there of Abrahamson, Kent Olof, unfortunately having some problems in his B19.
Now, the rules for this class, all the cars out there are pre-74, so you cannot be older than 74. Great move there by car number 22. That is Andre Besaidnote. He really is a man on the mission at the moment, going very defensive there. So great drive. Still a little bit of water up at the top of the hill there, so got to be oh so careful. That's car number 969. That's Keegan Campos. We went on board with him earlier. So if you thought that these guys come to the Passion for Speed and just circulate and do a demonstration, the lap times of the top 10 range from the 103s to the 111s. And look at it. That's how hard these guys are trying. This is so much more than just a demonstration of these beautiful cars.
Oh, remember, this is brothers fighting as well, because that's Jason just up the road. So Jay and Keegan having a little bit of fight on their own there. Oh, change up for the lead again. This time into turn 2, and the Chevron B19 of Scuderia Scribante moves up into the lead. So Scribante now leads from Besaidnote. Donald Duncan starting to make his way through the field as well, as you can see, starting to come up onto the back end of Wynand van der Merwe. The second of the Porsches on the road right now, van der Merwe in that Martini Racing. This is a new Porsche that's on track as well. Great to see some new cars coming out there. A 934 Porsche owned by Andre van der Merwe.
Oh, getting in all kinds out of shape. Oh no, there goes Larry Wolford. Larry Wolford spinning out there on the final final lap. Can you believe it? Coming to the line, out of that podium contention, it will be Franco Scribranti, just ahead of Bezuidenhout. We're going to have to wait and see now who picks up that final podium.
Yeah, it's Dutoy. Jonathan Dutoy just squeezed past as he went sliding out of Mix FM corner. And there you can see Dutoy ahead of Wilford. Keegan Campos in 5th place. Let's catch up with Franco and find out how that first race went.
Towards the end, safety car came out. So now everybody was on me and I had to jump. And there was oil everywhere. And that's how the Porsche got past me. So I had a hell of a humdinger with a Porsche. We're knocking into each other, nearly took each other out, but you know, me and Andre go back in racing, so we know each other and we're all fine with it and everybody's happy.
Let's see what's going to happen now for race number 2. Jason Campos and Keegan Campos put on a really good show. Wilford with a little issue. Hopefully you can get that sorted out. You can see a little bit of changes happening down in Scribanti's pit. Maybe just a couple of modifications and tweaks to that car to get it going. Keep an eye out for Neil Lobb in the second one. A bit of smoke on the tyres there from Bezuidenhout as he lights that big Porsche up. And a great shot from Keegan Campos' point of view. So we got Porsche from the B19, B8 and Porsche 911 RSR heading down into turn 2. On his tail, it's Van der Merwe. Then you've got another 911 Carrera in there as well. And the 934 on the outside. Van der Merwe going on the outside of Avakamides. Watch out for Steve Humble. He's back in the race in the Mallock, making his way from the back of the field after a DNF in the first one. He'll definitely be a rapid car, making his way to the front end as quickly as he can, getting through on the Lancia as they go to turn 4.
Yeah, Bezuidenhout's trying to learn from his mistakes in race number 1. He's trying to get out front and just pull away. And it's great to see a little bit further down. I might be mistaken, but Jason Campos in the oldest car in the field at the moment, the 1966 Ford GT40, as his brother Keegan squares it up beautifully, trying to make a move on the inside there on Jonathan Dutoy, just not able to make it stick there. And Greg, you were telling me the Dutoy car does lose out a little bit down the straights, but in the tight and turn stuff, that car really does come alive.
No, buddy, that B8 is incredible. It's like a slot car. I mean, you literally can't go wrong in it if you're powering through a corner. It doesn't quite have the straight line speed of the bigger cars behind it, and that's where they may be able to capitalize. Let's see what's going to happen. Wynand van der Merwe having a look here as they go down into turn 2 on the back end of Jason Campos. And you can see Jason Campos now starting to make his way to the front too. Looking further back to the field. David Hall out there in the Chevron. Nice to see Andre van der Merwe. And there, Terry Wolford having a bit of a fight of his own with a Lola T212 all the way from Sweden. And that is Anderson Berndt, who's running there with his teammate, Robert Brooks.
That's what you've got to love about these cars as well, as that the guys have kept the iconic branding of the cars, the Martinis, the Golfs. It really does stand out on track as this really is starting to heat up now. Dutoy starting to get comfortable, got some nice heat in those tyres, and he's starting to really mount a charge there now. But Andre Bezuidenhout, he is certainly the man that wants to pull the rabbit out of the bag here. Keegan Campos on board once again. Just listen how beautiful sounding this car is.
Heading down the hill now, late braking from Campos, trying to stay with his brother and trying to get through. Humble has got through. The Harp Motorsport machine is starting to hunt for the front end of this field, and whether or not he's going to be able to have enough laps in hand to do that, we'll wait and see. 917 Porsche is Terry Wolford. Ahead of him is the 934 of Andre van der Merwe. Lovely option. Oh, and Duncan spun out. So he spun out all on his own there. That's a big pity for him. And that McLaren, unfortunately, has to get going again from the back of the field. A lot of work to do. Chad Tendashate coming around the outside in the Trans-Africa Racing and Martini Racing Lancia as it goes through their good, awesome shot of that car in full flight. First time we've seen it in action. And it's great to see another car in the stable down at Trans-Africa Racing.
Done a lot of driving today so far has Donald Duncan, so maybe a little bit of fatigue there. As look out front now, going very defensive is Andre Bezuidenhout, but he's got Steve Humble just taking those wide sweeping lines, maybe going to line up something going into the final turn here. You can see a little bit more agile is that car. Bezuidenhout's going to try and make that Porsche as wide as possible. Humble goes on the inside. Oh, they come so close there. Oh, Bezuidenhout left him a little bit of room, and that's going to let Humble through. No, he doesn't. That extra little power of that Porsche is just going to hold on for now, but Humble certainly does look like he's lining something up.
Now the Mallock versus the Porsche. Looks like we might have lost Scribanti somewhere along the line there. The B19 down in pit lane with some issues. In fact, what happened, Rob, he came into the pit lane and he'd left the speed limiter on. So when he came in, they just flicked the speed limiter off again and he got going. There you can see, back on track, and unfortunately some issues there with that speed limiter, and Franco Scribanti making a small rookie mistake there, but fortunately able to get it sorted and back on circuit as quickly as possible.
Keegan Campos there, still running in about 4th place at the moment, lighting it up out there, but Steve Humble has got now to the front of the field. It was great to see that battle. He went round the outside in turn number 2. Really was an incredible move, but he'll come now to the line and pick up the race 2 win just ahead of Andre Bezuidenhout. Jason Campos rounds out your top 3 with Keegan Campos in 4th. Robert Brooks, an impressive 5th place.
As always at the International Passion for Speed Festival at Zwartkops, some contemporary cars are thrown into the mix to give the crowds a little bit more of a thrill. Not that they didn't get any from the historic cars. All this action from the International Passion for Speed Festival is proudly brought to you by Castrol, SKF, and Volkswagen Motorsport. Heading into the one that they've all come to win, the drivers that is. The SATT, proudly brought to you by Castrol. And all of the international contenders have come out here to fight against South Africa's best TT drivers. Last year it was won out by Peter Bailey. He's not here, so it means that Dino Scribante can put it on pole and try and fight for the win with Roy Campos in that Lola T70 Spider and a whole bunch of very quick cars on their tail.
A lot of drivers have decided to go the single option route, doing the whole 45-minute themselves. Some have gone for the 2-option route. Watch out for the Dutoy brothers. Know this track literally backwards. They are in car number 14 in that beautiful 1965 Lola T70 Spider. They've won it a couple of times in that car, so those really are the men to beat. But it's all about the consistency now. You've got 45 minutes around the Swartkrop circuit. Keep your nose clean and bring that car home.
You've got to do a 3-minute pit stop as well, and it looks like Dino Scribante battling a little bit here. You can see not quite on the same kind of pace. Looking in the rearview mirrors, looking back, there's something wrong on Scribante's car. The pole man, the man who had the whole shot, gives up first place to Dutoy. Looks like, watch out for it. Oh, any second now, there it comes. The second of those Lola T70 Spiders of Campos getting through as well, and Lombard follows them through in the Cobra. So problems right on the first lap there for Dino Scribante. Not what he wanted after setting an incredible pole time.
Now a little bit further back, watch out for Donald Duncan. He's going to start making his way through the field there. They had the bright orange car there, the beautiful McLaren. We've got a lot of international flavour taking part here as well. Drivers all the way from the UK, Sweden, the Netherlands. So really is a battle of international authority here, and the beautiful cars on display. Great that the weather's out. There is Scribante now pulling into the pits. Obviously terminal problems there, so not the way that he would have wanted to finish this 45-minute TT.
Yeah, the type car going into the pit lane, but you can see the actual GT40 on track at the moment, and Kenneth Pearson doing a great job to stay at the front end of this field so far. It comes through the field. You can see just a bit of chopping and changing. Lindenberg out there. That's Paige Lindenberg at the wheel right now. She'll be partnering with her dad, Peter. Two of them going to be in a team together as Mark Larth gets outgunned heading down into turn 2. That was the second of those Road to Race and Shelby machines. Chevy Camaros, piloted by two of the UK's finest. That is Mike Knight at the wheel at the moment. He'll be partnering with Chris Wilson. And there you can see Franco Resco starting to put a little bit of pressure onto them. Here comes Campos' point of view as we start to get into traffic. And this is exactly what the rest of this race is going to be about, Rob. Your ability to get through the traffic and not lose touch with the riders and drivers that you're fighting with.
Yeah, Roy Campos is a pro at doing that. He knows exactly which way to get around the back markers. And like you said, you do not want to throw away the race by making a silly move on those back markers. But he's got the man that he wants in sight right just ahead of him. So he's in a comfortable position at the moment. But also, those 3-minute pit stops, it could also be so crucial in this race. You've got to get in there, keep it smooth, and get out as fast as possible.
Oh, Chad Tendashate with a problem there in the Shelby Daytona coming out of Trans-Africa Racing. That's a big pity for them. That car will just nurse its way back to pit lane. I don't think it'll require a safety car. Remember, with the 45-minuter, there are no safety car laps. They will not count. You will have to continue doing everything that you need to do. Here comes Paige Lindenberg to do a little driver change here with Peter.
Looks like an early stop here for the Lindenbergs. Just coming into pit there. Paige is going to climb out the car and Dad's going to climb in. But I wonder if this is tactics now. Just coming in at the little bit earlier than the other cars and just heading out on track, giving you more time to put in those fast laps.
It wasn't easy. I haven't driven this car for a good year and a half, and I haven't shared with my dad either. So the endurance racing's tough. This car's tough. Something I'm really not used to. Left-hand drive, sit right on the back. So tough, but I just needed to finish and keep going so he can take over and do the job. So I did my job. Hopefully it helped.
Out on track, Donald Duncan, you can see on the right-hand screen there doing an incredible job at now coming into the pit lane. And a quick driver change here for this team too. I think everything going according to plan, but it's very hot out there.
Hot, very hot. Yeah, it's like getting into a sauna. Looking forward to it.
It's hot out there, so tyre pressures have to be adjusted. Let's find out from Mike Knight how his day's gone so far.
Got psyched out by one of the Dutoit boys who was coming up to lap me, and forgot where I should brake. It took me a minute or two not a minute or two, but certainly 10 or 20 seconds to get back on the circuit again. But otherwise, it's jolly good fun. Yeah, went well.
So far, so good for most of these drivers. You can see a little bit of chopping and changing happening in the pit lane with drivers. A bit of cooling of the cars because it's extremely hot now considering the conditions we had. Oh, Campos with a bit of issues. There you can see in the top right of the screen and on board with him on the left-hand side as he comes into pit lane with a bit of smoke coming out of the back of that car. I don't know if that could be terminal. Warren Lombard following him in, so not a bad plan there, getting the pit stop in as quickly as he can. The pit stop window is basically open here. Lots of cars in the pit lane.
Now, this is the time to be out on track now because you've got a little bit clearer than you've had all race long, and it looks like Campos is out. So whatever problem he's got on that car is certainly terminal, and the man that was setting the pace at the front of this race is now out. That's allowed the Dutoy brothers, if they get the pit stop right, they could be at the front of this field.
Warren Lombard could be at the front as well. We'll have to keep an eye on that because he is in pit lane at the moment.
Good, it's tough, it's hot. The car's going well. I saw Campos was smoking, so I thought I'd just lay off him a little bit.
Time to go, thanks, Wazzy. Out you go, buddy. We don't want to hold you back because there's an opportunity. Oh, Venter spinning out on track as we see the action on the right screen. Here come the Dutoys. The Dutoys are in for their allotted change. They will do a driver change and a refuel on that Lola T70 Spider. And you can see Mark Larth getting a little bit of liquid in himself as well. That 917 must be pretty hot. Kenneth Pearson with some problems. Pulling that GT40 back in the pit lane. Not what he wanted to do in terms of finishing for this race. But it's the Dutoys out front now and looking once again to take another victory in the SATT.
Yeah, it's Jonathan Dutoy out on track at the moment, so he looks like he'll bring that car home. This is Donald Duncan, car number 4 in that beautiful McLaren. He's now in a potential for a top 2 place here, just behind the Dutoys, and the biggest loser at the moment has been Warren Lombard. Unfortunately, down now in about 3rd or 4th place, so you're going to have to wait and see if he can get onto that podium. But coming to the final stages was all about the Dutoys. Once again, picking up the TT1, coming through the back markers, will come across the line and pick up yet another victory in that Lola T70.
And Dutoy on the side as well. Peter Dutoy, that is, the big boss man of Swartkorps, waving the flag as Mark and Jonathan take the victory in the Castrol Pre-66 Le Mans Sports and GTs.